I have known Jimmy and Sis Blanchard for well over 2 decades. What a blessing their friendship has been to me. And it was a great honor to be asked to write something to just highlight Jim's years, his 36 years with Synovus and CB&T and TSIS. Naturally, when I got the assignment, the invitation I should say, I asked if there was any information that I might get to help me write the song. And look what I got in response to that simple request. There's so much. What I learned pretty quickly is that you really can't tell the story of James H. Blanchard, the one we all know as Jimmy, without also telling the story of James W. Blanchard, his dad. Columbus Bank and Trust thrived under the leadership of Jimmy's father from 1957 until he passed away unexpectedly in 1969. The board began an immediate search for a successor and quickly turned to young Jimmy, who had his father's business acumen, religious convictions, educational interests, and dedication to community service. In 1970, at age 28, he was named assistant president and board member of CB&T, the youngest bank president in the state of Georgia that year. In 1971, Jimmy Blanchard became president of CB&T, literally assuming his father's chair, a chair which played a unique role in his first day on the job.
The first day that I showed up on the job, and I sat in my father's chair, and I had the feelings that you would have of the son who now had, by some strange series of events, come to the point of actually taking the place of his father. And I sat in his chair, and I leaned back, and it flipped over upside down. And I literally lay back prone on the floor. And of course, Joanne heard the racket, came in, and here's this lady who'd been covering my overdrafts for all these years, now knowing that I was the new president of Columbus Bank and Trust Company. And I saw her eyes roll back, and I saw her turn around and walk out, and I just could read her mind. Her mind was, we're going to hell in a handbasket.
Well, that's not exactly where the company went under Jimmy's leadership. In fact, he took the company to places beyond anyone's vision or expectations. Anyone's except his own, that is. Over the course of 36 years, Jim Blanchard and the teams he led transformed a single bank in Columbus, Georgia into an innovative, diversified financial services company with tens of billions of dollars in assets serving customers around the world. It was Jimmy who argued for the creation of CB&T bank shares long before the passage of the Multi-Bank Holding Company bill, and who made sure CB&T was the first bank in Columbus to have ATMs. Jimmy was there when we introduced the first electronic credit card in the nation, a milestone which led to the creation of TSIS and our position as a leader in the global payments processing industry. The banking side of the company eventually expanded into 5 southeastern states, and to fulfill Jimmy's vision of growth beyond banking, CB&T Bankshares changed its name to Synovus and added broader services like financial management, mortgages, and insurance.
He has a vision for this company that causes us to try to be even better than we think we can be. And with that, I think it goes along with rules and expectations and certain discipline that goes with that. But he's never imposed those things on us without this sense that he cared about us as well, that he genuinely loved the people that worked here.
In his early days, Jimmy saw the advantages that the North Carolina banks had had through statewide branching, and when the opportunity for the Bank Holding Company Act presented itself in Georgia, Jimmy was one of the leaders and sacrificed a couple of years out of his life in Atlanta to be sure that that legislation passed, and when it did, CB&T was at the very cutting edge of taking advantage of it.
Jimmy's high priority on people led to the Synovus People Development Exponent, an effort to assure that every team member knows that someone cares about them. And the defining of our customer covenant clarified the expectation that the way we treat each other on the inside must extend to everyone we serve.
He personally cares about people. He has a deep, demonstrated belief about the worth and capabilities of every person. And so he's more interested in people having rich, full lives, not just rich, full careers.
Under Jimmy's leadership, Synovus was named Fortune's #1 company to work for in America, was twice recognized as one of America's most admired companies, and earned a position in Fortune's Hall of Fame among other 100 best companies. With 3.5 decades of this level of remarkable accomplishment behind him, Jimmy decided the time was right to pass the torch, and he announced he would retire in October of 2006. There's been a Blanchard at the helm of the organization for nearly 50 years, so Jimmy's pending retirement was a cause for reflection, a reason to think about the things that have set him apart. One thing that comes up frequently is his character.
When I think of Mr. Blanchard, there are 3 distinct images I have. One is he always has this huge smile. He always extends a hand or a hug, and he just oozes with passion.
The first thing that comes to mind when I think of Jimmy Blanchard is friend, compassionate, leader, visionary.
Jimmy's gifts include, first of all, a very sharp, competitive edge. And then secondly, I think of Jimmy's outstanding communication skills. He has this remarkable ability to keep people connected to each other and to the core values of Synovus. And then thirdly, I think of Jimmy's love for people, especially the people of Synovus. He cares about each individual. He encourages everyone to do what is humanly possible to make others successful.
From a director's perspective, it's been a great comfort to know in this post-Enron world that whatever Jimmy and the Synovus management team was going to do was based upon doing the right thing.
Many people will remember him for his communication skills, skills he used to make a positive impact.
I've always envied the fact that he could jot a few notes on the back of an envelope and make a speech that would take me 3 weeks to even come close to writing as well as he spoke just extemporaneously. And I think the reason Jimmy could do that is what you see is what you get. I mean, Jimmy is a man who walks the talk, and he has a strong faith. I think Jimmy, for one thing, realized at an early age that meaning in life doesn't come from feeding your ego, but from committing to something that's bigger than you are. And I think that came through in everything Jimmy did and everything he said.
A leader's impact might well be measured by how long their influence is felt after they retire. By that standard, Jimmy is leaving quite a legacy.
If you had to pick the one legacy that Jimmy Blanchard has left in this company, I would think it would be the people that he has brought in and the example he set for them. The Leadership Institute that was his baby that he established. I think for that reason, this company is known as the best place to work.
I think Jimmy Blanchard's real legacy to Synovus is to have built a company with phenomenal leaders throughout all divisions, all units, so that the future of our company is just as bright, if not brighter, after Jimmy has retired as it was before.
Jimmy's legacy I think of people first, but really I think of integrity, character, and really the cultural values of our organization. Jimmy has pounded those into the fabric of the company in a manner that will stand the test of time.
I think that our companies are the envy of most people in our industry, not because we're perfect in every way, but because we've drawn this line in the sand and said, this is the way we're going to do it. We're going to have leadership expectations. We're going to treat people right. We're going to take care of customers. We're going to respect each other. And I don't think you could have a better leadership legacy than that.
Throughout his tenure, Jimmy led effectively, appointing the right people to the right jobs, sharing his vision of personal and corporate potential, and rallying every available ounce of energy toward the goal of becoming the finest financial services company in the world. Jimmy, being true to who you are, has made the entire Synovus family a whole lot better than we could ever have been without you.
Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you for teaching us to always keep people first.
Thanks for always loving us, Jimmy. You know we love you.
We understand we have an important trust to keep.
Thanks, Jimmy. Your legacy will continue in us.
It's been a lot of fun to work on this song for you. It is no small challenge. I think the proverb would be, it's like pouring an ocean in a thimble to catch the essence of your career in just a few lines. But it's been a joy, and I hope that this song will be a blessing to you and Sis. Thank you. I love you a whole lot, and I hope I'll see you soon. Two roads diverged on a third baseline. You chose the better way, the one that says put people first and do your best each day. From the day your chair tipped over, you've put on quite a show, and we've gathered just to thank you, and we hope somehow you'll know that we loved your Tuesday mornings, your stories and your laugh, the way you led the family here 3 decades and a half. You've taught us all the value chain. You've made your vision very plain. We're here to say we love you before we let you go. You are Mr. Motivator, and we love the way you teach. You're the great communicator, and our very favorite sneech. To your friends, you're plain old Jimmy, with a charming southern style. You are Mr. Servant Leader, Mr. $1,000,000 Smile. Where you've made us see the possible, you made us confident to try. You taught a culture of the heart that words can't codify. Your leadership has shown us well what it takes to ring the bell. And now the whole world knows us as Synovus #1. Lots of people know about you, but there are 4 who know you best. And the way they brag about you is the mark of your true success. From you they've learned of love and grace. In you they see their Savior's face. For all these years they've shared you, but now you're theirs alone. You are Mr. Storyteller, you're a lifter through and through. You
your friend who's tried and true. You are dad and you are granddad, with a heart just like a child. You are Sis's love forever and her $1,000,000 smile. Now Jimmy, your absence will sure be felt. We better hitch up our hernia belt, 'cause we are gonna miss you and your $1,000,000 smile. Thank you for the memories and the $1,000,000 smiles. Jimmy, we all love you and your your $30 billion